Morning to you, and thank you so much for allowing us into your home. Can you imagine? It's the last Saturday of the month of November, which means we're getting closer to December, and you know what that means. Christmas is coming. It's great once again to be on your radio with another inspiring conversation on your favorite family and relationship show, Home Affairs. It's on your superstation, Joy 99.7 FM. And you know, as we always say, we are making homes out of houses. We are also live on Facebook on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah, and I'm sitting in for your regular Edem Night Day, and this will be happening for the next few weeks. You know, listening to that song brought a lot of things to mind, considering that we are even ending the year. And I know for many of us, life may have, giving us a raw deal this year. But you know what? It's not ended yet. Just believe things will get better. And like Paul says in Corinthians, run the race like somebody who wants to win. Don't give up. Give it your all. Push it. You never know when that thing you're hoping and believing for will come to pass. And that's just by way of motivating you this Saturday morning. Well, last week, remember, we had a very interesting conversation. If you missed it, please get onto our Facebook page and look through our videos and find it. It was a conversation about whether the first 5 years of any marriage is the make or break of it. And we had interesting calls, interesting interaction with our guests. Well, after that, one of you sent in an email and you have some really genuine concerns. I'd like to read out this email to you and then we'll zoom in into today's conversation. So it reads, "Hello, Home Affairs. I really need help with this. My entire view of marriage is being threatened. I grew up with a perception that once you get married, it's you and your husband versus everyone else, that you and this person have become one. And even the Bible says it, right? That you and this person become one flesh. So is there something wrong with expecting that my husband's life revolves around me and mine his? For instance, I expect that our friends become one pool. I expect that at least all things being equal, every outing must be attended together, no matter where the invite is coming from. I expect that as much as possible, all trips should be taken together, etc. I do not see why there should be some things we should do apart, especially if they are for leisure, talk less of important things like accounts, properties, etc. But my husband seems to have a different view. In the beginning, I didn't think much of it because I felt he was transitioning and needed time to adjust to these things. But after 3 years, it's beginning to become a huge problem. He doesn't believe our lives must be that intertwined. Recently, something happened that got me really upset. He said he was stressed out at work and wanted to drive up the mountain alone and have some me time, read and relax. I was so confused. Does that mean I am not capable of helping him distress? What does it have to take, or why does it have to be without me? Also, why can't we have this trip together? We've talked about this a few times, and we both just can't seem to get where the other is coming from. I want to know, is it unrealistic to expect that my spouse's life revolves around me? And that's the conversation we are having today. Our guest, Ariel, the wellness coach, is with me in studio, and Ugochukwu Nyeke, a relationship coach, is joining us via Zoom. Let me welcome you. Thank you so much for joining the program today.
Thank you.
Let me give you some time to think around what we've just heard, and I'll be taking your comments quickly. Would like to thank all those who've made it possible for us to bring you this show this morning. And Home Affairs is brought to us by Amasha Partners Limited and iCare, Compu Ghana Passion for Technology, Onga Mama's Helping Hand, Royal King Cracker, Take Chock Your Hunger, and Cerelac. It's all good, ma'am. So let's just get it on right away. Let me start with you, Ugochukwu. Good morning to you. Your initial thoughts on this letter from our listener.
Oh, greetings, Bernice, and it's great to be on your show again. Yes, she's not the only one in this situation. It's something that a lot of people wonder, about. But whether or not it's a realistic expectation is another issue altogether, because especially from that perspective that she comes, and the two have become one,
Mm-hmm.
as the scriptures say. But what does that scripture actually mean? Of course, it's not open to one interpretation, but even in the scripture, if you're going to go by it, how did married people behave, and what is the model, when we speak of marriages. Now, you're talking about two people that have come into a relationship at 25 or 30 or 20, but it means that they have lived a large portion of their lives alone or without this particular person before they came together as husband and wife. Um, what that means is that walls have been built before two of you connected. And 3 years is not a very long time, I can tell you that, because there are couples who are still trying to blend and bond and connect effectively even after 10 years. Because there are a lot of things we bring into marriage. And as we progress in marriage, we drop them, we learn new things, we make new decisions, we trust more, believe more, hope more. And in the process, we continue to become one. It doesn't happen automatically. And I also see that all these things are in her head, but maybe she didn't prepare herself for the realities that are coming now. She just had an expectation that once you get married, everything will just flow. But sincerely, 3 years is a very, very, very short period to
Mm.
begin to have those expectations and have it frustrate you, the way she's feeling.
Ugo, we'll delve more into the issues that you've raised, expectations, what kind of conversations happened before the marriage, and were they all on the same page on this particular issue. But let me take Ariel's initial thoughts. Ariel, is this lady's expectation unrealistic?
Saying unrealistic to her will be very harsh. She will tell you, why are you saying it's unrealistic to me? Because that's a need that she find very realistic. But whether it's realistic or not depends on two people and if it's achievable by these two people. And when you want something to be realistic, you are not the only person expecting. And I like certain words in her letter that you've read. Her view. She said it's her view, it's her perception. I expect. So her expectations is what she's using to analyze the situation. And what comes to my mind first was they might have courted or dated for some time. So what was happening during that time? Did she find this guy somebody who would not have his own, mind or his own way of living and could totally be somebody that you want to do everything with? Was that what she saw from the beginning? If that was not what she saw, then she's just expecting that once we get married, you don't have a life of your own anymore, and so it has to be how I want it to flow. But it is very unhealthy emotionally, mentally, to say that everything I expect from you or my life should all revolve only around you. Everything we do should be the same. It's quite a very serious codependency. And it won't be realistic if the other partner doesn't share the same view, the same expectation, the same mindset, the same values that she sees. And just like Ugo says, she's referred to the Bible, but sometimes we read the Bible and we take it literally, just like that. So she's taking it that if the Bible said two becomes one, then
Mm.
physically, everything we do actually also needs to become one. And this stems from her beliefs, her value system.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I would say if this is not being realistic for you now, it's not being met, can you sit back and ask yourself, in whose view did I take this from? who made me accept that this is the way it should be, who gave me this perception that this is what I should expect. And then sit down and ask yourself, does this serve me right now in this marriage that I am sitting inside? It's not about what anybody is doing. As I said, realistic may be happening for some people because the two of them share the same expectations, the same view, the same value. But here you are with somebody else who doesn't share the same. So you need to sit back and ask yourself, whose view did I pick this from? Whose expectation is it? Was it my own forming of understanding and belief and value that I'm asking for this? And if this is being asked of me too, how would I be able to function? So first, it's not really healthy that you would say that everything should revolve around one person out of the 9 billion people in the world.
Interesting. And I'm sure for you listening at home, you want to share your thoughts with us. So here's the number to send your thoughts to via WhatsApp: 055 1111 997. I'll take it again: 055 1111 997. Or if you want to call, you can put this number down, and when we open the phone lines, you can do so: 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. Let me come back to you, Ariel.
Sure.
Because here's the thing. You talk about who may have put this in her mind, that this is how it should be.
Yeah.
She refers to the Bible, and we know how sometimes it happens when people are being counseled. You're told, and she made reference to that. For example, our accounts, it's not your money, it's our money.
Yeah.
It's our home.
Yeah.
And so this lady is thinking that if we are in a partnership, so to speak, then everything must revolve around me and vice versa. You say this is not healthy. So to what extent can we take this one flesh principle?
Well, I'm not a pastor, so I wouldn't even delve into the pastoral part of that. But, I mean, becoming a couple in itself, you're a one already. Because you've agreed to live together, you've agreed to, share the rest of your life together. So that alone means you're one. But that being your one doesn't mean that individually you don't have your own likes and your dislikes. You don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean you don't have things you want to share, or you don't have friends, or you don't have things you want to do alone. So being married, yes, you are one. Being married, yes, you need to have your financial goals about certain topics, about certain expectations or responsibilities that you talk about. But that doesn't mean that all his financial decisions may have to be decided by you. So
maybe not decided by you, but
you need to know what is going on
yes,
financially.
yes.
Oh, yes, you can know it, but you can't tell him how he spends all his money.
Is it his money or it's our money?
It's our money. It's our money. But okay, so you want to buy a yellow dress like you're wearing, and he wants to buy a black trousers. That can be your decision to make for him.
Okay,
and
I
so
get what you mean.
yes,
So what he decides to use with his part
with
of the
his
money,
part of the money
should be his decision.
should be his decision. Everything is about choices. Well-being is about choices.
Right.
And if you are making a choice that it has to be the way I want it, then you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself. That it has to be. Because being married, you're one. There are certain decisions you're going to make. We are going to have 3 kids. It's a decision you're making as two people that have come together. There's the decision you're going to make about, how you eat home and other things. But if you say his own function, his functionality as a person shouldn't be about what he finds satisfactory, then you are taking his life away from him. And while you are taking his life away from him, you're also going to lose yours, because you are not going to think about anything about yourself. You are going to be totally out of balance, trying to always position this person to live in a way that makes you feel okay. And for me, if I'm having a session with this person, the first thing I'm going to ask is, what are her fears? What is her security? What makes her feel secured? Why would she feel threatened? She said she was upset when he said I needed some me time. And truthfully, sometimes you get to a place and the need you have may not be met for you by your partner. I need to read. Would you read the book for me? You don't necessarily have to be there if I want to give some time to myself and listen to myself. You see, there are things people need to learn and go through for themselves, to hear from themselves. And so for me, for her to find this request, I want to drive up the mountain, look at nature, connect with myself. Unrealistic and upsetting means she's really starting from a very flawed perception.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me bring Ugo in here. So for this lady, and it's interesting you bring the issue of security, what
Yeah.
are her fears,
Yeah.
because then for her, the way she interprets her husband's decision to go up the mountain to have a me time because he wants to distress is that she cannot do that for him. She cannot meet that need. So already she's feeling inadequate. Why am I not able to help you through this? I mean, it's a very dicey thing.
Yeah.
So she's thinking that I want to help you through this. You don't have to do it alone. But the man is saying, I want to do it alone. So she feels like you're pushing me away. Am I not able to help you? How do you deal with this?
Okay, well, first, I just like to say, my money is my money. Your money is your money.
Ugo.
Our
Don't
money
start
is our
that.
money. But the question you just asked is very, very important. And just as Ariel was saying, truly, sometimes we look at people through our own lenses and not through theirs. And so she's not hearing what the guy is saying. She's interpreting the event based on, yes, what you might call her expectations, but it's also a reflection of her flaws, her weaknesses, her insecurities, issues that she may not have dealt with properly, maybe from her past, or a mentality that she has grown to have. But it has nothing to do with the guy for now. It has a lot to do with her, okay? Because the guy just said, I want to be alone. I want to drive up the mountains by myself and just view nature and all of that. But she's wondering why she cannot be a part of it. So the guy hasn't done anything wrong. It's her interpretation of the situation that is creating these problems. Now, the other thing, and with profound respect to her, this is not to beat down on her feelings or expectations or anything, but the word that keeps standing out for me in this conversation is realistic, realistic. Anytime you do not have realistic expectations, you frustrate yourself, and you blame people, you play victim, even when there's really nothing to be, a victim about. Now, she is forgetting, like I said from the beginning, that they are coming from two different extremes with two different views of life. And 3 years, I say again, is not a very long time. Now, look at this. When we say that um, the two have become one, both scripturally and culturally, it's a process.
Right.
And it takes, I don't know if you've done this before. You see a husband and a wife, and you say, are
They look
you
alike.
are you sure you're not a brother and sister? Are you guys
Yeah,
Look
alike?
alike.
you're
And
right.
and it's because they have
They've,
grown
yeah,
to that
together.
point. But it's a process. For some people, it happens faster. For some others, it takes a while. But what she's expecting in her relationship after 3 years, well, like Ariel said, they may have been together for a while before getting married. But even at that, 3 years in marriage and expecting that his world will revolve around you and yours around him, I, sincerely, there is something, that she may not have been able to deal with
Yeah.
from her past that
Yeah.
might be affecting her.
Right. So let's look at it this way. It may not be her story, but we also know that there are some people who have marriage, relationships, partnerships where they also cannot come to that understanding. Like Ariel said, there are certain things that we must do together. So, what are the boundaries? What are the acceptable events. For example, she says she expects that they go for functions together, they have one pool of friends. Probably that makes her feel secure. And to know what's happening around you, I just need to know what's happening in your life. You need to know what's happening in mine. So, how do we determine the boundaries, Ugo? How do we also ensure that people do not necessarily get into relationships, get into partnerships, and end up living as singles, but being
Married.
married?
Yeah.
Yes, that's another very important question. And the truth is, every relationship has got to be properly negotiated. That is one of the mistakes that we make, about our relationships. They have to be properly negotiated. I can tell you for a fact that if they had sat down to talk about this before they got married, she would have also been able to understand the implications of being married to the kind of person that she's married to. Their temperaments,
Mm-hmm.
the energy, the
Mm-hmm.
way they see life,
Yeah.
and everything, is different. Now, there's something that Ariel said. It sounded funny, but it's so true. If I'm writing exams, will you go into the hall with me? Will you study with me? But do you know that there are people that can take it that far?
Mm-hmm.
So you tell them, I'm going to the campus to study. I have an exam tomorrow morning. She'll say, I'll go with you. And so um, it has to be negotiated. Know the kind of person that you are going into a relationship with so that you can determine whether this person is capable of loving you the way you want to be loved.
Mm.
If the guy knew that this is the kind of woman I'm getting married to, maybe he would have communicated it differently. Maybe he would have said to her, okay, this is the situation, this, I know you're working and this and this. There's a way you say it to the person and the person accepts it. Okay. But then if you bring in the subject of trust, this is what I say to my friends. When you're in a relationship, you don't trust because you've been given a reason to trust. You trust by default. You trust
Because you
because
choose to.
you have made a
Yeah.
choice to be in a relationship with this person. It is only when there is a reason not to trust, maybe because of what happened from the past, while you've been with this person, something must occasion
Mm.
the fact that you don't trust any longer, or that you're concerned about this person's accountability. But until that happens, you trust because you love.
Mm.
And so if from the very outset she's already having problems about who he's hanging out with, I want to know who your friends are, I want to make sure you're doing the right thing, and all of that. There's a very thin line between um, wanting accountability for the right reasons and being insecure. And one of the mistakes that people make in relationships is feed people's insecurities.
Right.
The moment you begin to feed people's insecurities, you give them something to stand on, such that if you say no tomorrow, it becomes a problem because you've always said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a dangerous place to be.
Right.
You might not, there are sometimes I might not even be able to tell you about all my friends because it hasn't come up,
Yeah.
and maybe I never even imagined I'll run into these people at this point of my life and things like that. I'll tell you as many stories as I can remember, but I might not be able to tell you everything depending on the transitions that I'm having to deal with at the time we're having that conversation. So there's a level of, like I said before, her and any other person that struggles with insecurity. That's why I said that some of the times our expectations are born out of flaws, weaknesses, traumas that we've dealt with in the past and we haven't healed from, or flaws that we haven't overcome. But we bring it to the table as an expectation without realizing that we have to start with ourselves,
Mm.
deal with it, clear our minds, become better before we even bring it to the table so
Right.
that this other person addresses it properly.
Mm. Interesting. Ariel, let's flip the script a bit. So, how do you also determine if your partner or your husband or your wife is just being extremely selfish and doesn't want you to have a say in the things that the two of you must make
Yeah.
decisions on.
Yeah.
And how do you handle that as well?
Okay. So if your partner is selfish, then you will know that his choices are being made at the detriment of your well being, at the detriment of you feeling supported in the relationship. But if his choices are about his likes and his dislikes, then that wouldn't be selfish. Selfishness means you're doing something that is at the detriment of another person. It takes something from someone else. But if his choice is, I mean, to read a book, let's just stay on that one. I don't think it's taking anything away from you. Now, it can be selfish if he doesn't make any time for you at all. If the relationship, the two of you don't have any friends in common, you don't go to any functions at all, you don't, then you know that this person has really taken me out of it and is being selfish. He doesn't share anything with me, he doesn't talk to me. I don't know what is happening. When I complain, he tells me I can't explain it to you. You know, then you can know that this person is really cutting me off. It's totally selfish. He doesn't care about my needs in the relationship. This letter is short. One thing that came to my mind is trust is not there, one. And I don't know if she has kids. Because if she has kids, then this shouldn't have come out because the kids can even engage her. But if she still feels that everything has to revolve, then maybe there are no kids in there and she feels this is not healthy. Selfishness, when you're dealing with someone who is selfish, they may be manipulative as well because they are selfish. They want to get something from you to satisfy them. To understand this, you need to know if the person is manipulating you to benefit from you. That is the first reason you should look out to determine if the selfishness in a relationship. There will be manipulation. And to understand whether the person is being manipulative is to know how they request things from you, how they make their choices around simple things. That is when you are going to know that this person is manipulating me just so that they have their way. Everything is about them. It's about how they feel. When you realize somebody is being manipulative, you really, really need to set certain boundaries. You need to learn how to ask for what you need. Make certain conversations. And as Ego is saying, everything is about negotiation. Once you determine that this is a selfish partner, I'm being manipulated here at the detriment of my well-being, everything is about how he will get the better side of the coin, then you need to make it something that you work out. You can't tell him he's being manipulative or he's selfish. Nobody will accept. He won't say yes. But then you have to start setting boundaries, asking yourself, how do I improve myself in a way that I'm not manipulated? When I'm being manipulated, how can I say no to it? You need to know the person, how they communicate, how you can have conversations with them. Because if you don't know how to deal with somebody who is manipulating you, it can also flip to become something else. So first, the way a manipulator may deal with me will be different from how they may deal with you, Bernice, because we are different people. So first is to know the person and create boundaries in how you protect yourself from their manipulation. But selfishness always comes with some manipulation. So first you need to understand, am I being manipulated here at the detriment of my well-being so that this person always gets what they want in the relationship? Yeah.
I'm very happy you brought in the bit of manipulation. It's as if you were reading my mind, Ariel, because that was going to be my next question, and obviously without sounding condescending towards this lady, because how then do you, even as a person, examine yourself to know that, do I need help? Am I expecting too much?
Yeah.
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Do I need to talk to somebody? We'll get into that, but we've received some of your comments via WhatsApp, and we'll take them quickly and continue with the conversation. This one says, good morning. I really don't see the problem with a man who wants me time. Yes, the Bible says the two shall become one. But did it say which one? Okay, I don't seem to get what that means. But a woman should have a life and a man should have a life too. But you don't force yourself into a man's space when really what he wants is not you, but some space to clear his head and rejuvenate. And he says it's very necessary. This is from Tom Brown in Tayman. And this is from Pearl, who says, I can relate to what is being discussed today. So I had to sit back and readjust my views and live a day at a time. And it's working. In fact, life is better, and we will be 12 years this month. Oh,
Oh,
Pearl,
that's nice. That's
congratulations to
nice.
you. And okay, we don't know who this is coming from, but I am Bernice. Someone told me last week that I sounded so much like Adam.
Oh,
so
okay.
so let me just say again so that we all know what's happening. But this one says, I believe that in as much as we are married, we have our individual preferences and choices. It's She says, I like to be alone sometimes, so my sister shouldn't take this too far. She should let her marriage have some air or space.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And this is from Humphrey, who says, "B dada B." Yeah, that's the nickname Kojo Jansen gave me. What if the woman is the reason why the husband wants a break? The question she's asking alone needs a whole holiday to reflect on. Humphrey is right, because when you begin to
Yeah.
dissect rather the
Yeah.
issue, you realize that this could lead to so many other
Yeah.
revelations. Like now we're talking about manipulation, we're
Yeah.
talking about, could there be a history, could there be trust
Yeah.
issues? But we'll be going on a break quickly, but let me take your thoughts on this, Ugo. Yes, everyone is saying give the man some me time, blah blah blah. You mentioned temperaments, and we all know that different temperaments come with different attitudes and different behaviors. Could this be a lady who likes to always be around? Because some of us are quite clingy.
She is.
And can we have a compromise, for example? Ugo, can we say, yes, you want to have some me time driving up the mountain, but can you drive up with me? Maybe I'll take a drink. If it's a hotel you're going to, I'll sit in the lobby and take a drink while you have your me time, clear your head, and then we drive back together. Can there be a compromise sometimes?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is one of the recommendations at the end of the day. That's why it's important that they negotiate. That's why it's important that they sit down and talk. Okay. When you know who you are, you definitely know who fits into your life and who doesn't. And relationships should not only be strengthened on the basis of common grounds. Even your differences can also be an incentive for the relationship, just as you're saying. Okay, if you've married someone that is a bit clingy and will always want to, be around you and things like that, what level of compromise are you willing to make? Can you say, like, come with me, but you stay here and I go there, or something? Okay, well, I mean, people do it, but like I was saying, and even from all the comments that have been made, from the ones you read, you realize that it's a process. It's a process. As you grow, you get better. If it's a beautiful relationship, it just continues to get better. But if you find yourself struggling from the very beginning without wanting to look at things from a different perspective, you will go into a competition with every other thing that your spouse is doing, man or woman. And once that happens, you would never be fulfilled, and you would always feel that there is something wrong, even when there isn't.
At the heart of this, from what I get from the submissions and even the contributions from our listeners, is communication, right? We will delve deeper into that after the break, and also try to see how probably we can give some sort of advice to this young lady, because what we definitely want to see is her home getting better, and that's what Home Affairs is all about. And so just a quick thank you to all our sponsors, but also just to let you know, there's now at least 20% and up to 60% of everything at the closing down sale at game stores. Plus, look out for the Black Friday specials and even more discounts, including up to 75% on furniture. Everything is reduced and everything must go. So hurry, don't miss the closing down sale at Game. Tobacco and baby formula excluded from sale. All liquor now 15% off. Visit gamestores.com.gh to find your nearest store. You've got game. And for your eye care challenges, look no further. Amasha Partners Limited and Eye Care has it all. Your eyes deserve the best care and quality designer eyeglasses. Amasha Partners and Eye Care undertake the following services: supply of designer frames, sight testing, supply of lenses, sunglasses, contact lenses, ophthalmologist in attendance, and general treatment. Locate us at La Opposite Trade Fair, Spintex, adjacent ICGC before Community 18 Junction, McCarthy Hill opposite Benji Lodge, North Kanishi Swan Lake opposite Greenhunt Junction, Achimota second floor Dainsua Plaza, Takrade, Axim Road opposite GCB Bank, Ho opposite Housing Junction, Kumasi Airport Runabout, Kolebu opposite ECG and Koforidua Central Hospital Road, and Tema Community 1, Meridian Plaza. You can also contact Amasha on 0302 939850, 0302 778827. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, Charlie, I know say as you dey come job this morning, if you're like me, I dey rush was sick of you make late, so you know if you pass Antibuni in there. But make you no worry, take this Royal King cracker, take chuck your hunger. The traffic set, the workload for the office set, the meeting go be long. Where you two you dey hung. Make you know shiver cry as Royal King cracker day dear. You can always chuck the hunger to keep the vim up. Royal King cracker. Take chuck your hunger. We all know hunger can make you slow, but with the heat in the system, Charlie, no time for dawdling. Oh, grab a pack of Royal King cracker and chuck the hunger to keep your burger level intact. Royal King cracker, take chuck your hunger. And just once again, there is at least 20% and up to 60% of everything at the closing down sale at game stores. Plus, look out for the Black Friday specials with even more discounts, including up to 75% off furniture. Everything is reduced and everything must go. So hurry, don't miss the closing down sale at Game. Tobacco and baby formula excluded from sale. All liquor of now 15% off. Visit gamestores.com.gh to find your nearest store. You've got game. And at this point, we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we will delve into the communication aspect of our conversation and then pick your calls. Do stay. Thank you so much for staying here on Home Affairs on your superstation, Joy 99.7 FM. If you just joined us today, our topic for discussion is my spouse's life must revolve around me and vice versa. Is my expectation unrealistic? Well, we've been digesting this and I've been joined by Ariel, the wellness coach in studio, and Ugo Chuku Nweke, our relationship coach via Zoom. We've established that, look, there could really be a problem. This whole issue of my spouse's life revolving around me and vice versa must be a balanced act. But most importantly, everybody must be on the same page, right? And you, Ariel, and Ugo spoke about negotiation, which comes down to communication. And communication before you enter the marriage, during the marriage, because, like Ugo said, people change. People have, so maybe my dream is to build a 5-bedroom house, say in Accra. But as we go along, my mind changes. I want to go up the mountain like this gentleman in Ebri. So communication during the relationship is also important. How do we ensure that there are no surprises prior to the marriage and even while we are engaged in the partnership?
Communication is key, and communication comes in different ways, but the most important thing is the art of listening. If you are not listening, you'll always be fixated on your view because you are not truly listening. It has to be your way. So first you need to stay focused and get the art of listening. Listen and understand your partner when you're communicating. One thing about communication is you always have to stay on the subject at hand. Sometimes when we are communicating, we are still bringing up things in other conversation, we bring up things in other issues, or even before we got married and all that. Communication has to be something that two people agree that you will talk and I will talk, and we'll come back and I'll also say my view, and we all come to an understanding by negotiating, healthy negotiations. It's not that one person is set in their ways. So the subject at hand needs to be focused on. This is what we are talking about. I want to have more time of you because you are not making time for me. It's not about money, it's about time. So focus on the needed request you want from your partner, because if you don't focus on that, you're going to bring so many things, and then the conversation keeps going out of the most important thing that you want to focus on. And listen to your partner's view, because everybody has a view, and you can't expect that everybody share the same view as you do. It may not always be your view, but as you listen and understand, and the Bible said, with all thy getting, get understanding. Understanding is key. If you don't understand people, you will always think that maybe their needs are unrealistic or their needs are not healthy for you. But try to understand and listen to what they need. And then I'll say, instead of responding with criticism when you're communicating and negotiating, have some empathy. Have some empathy when you're communicating with your partner, because our needs have to be met one way or the other. It's a give and take relationship. As the lady said, the two have become one. So, though everything can evolve around one person, have empathy for my needs as well. Just like we are saying, you mentioned, can she negotiate that? Can I go with you up the mountain? If it's a hotel, I will just stay on my own while you do your reading somewhere. This is, something that if the husband can be understanding and have some empathy, he can say, yes, you can come along with me, but I want to just sit on this side and do my reading. So empathy is very crucial when we are communicating. Instead of criticizing and saying, you are like this, you are like that, and that's why you're doing this, don't let your fears crowd your mind when you are communicating. Because sometimes you're communicating because you're afraid. Your fear is making you judge and not listen. So you are judging before you listen to your partner. And when you do that, you don't hear what they are saying, you don't get their view, and you don't even, reach out to them, because the more you are judging them, the more they become defensive. So don't judge, don't be criticizing them because you think what they are asking is. Be more understanding and have some empathy. And own what is yours. Sometimes when we are communicating, we don't own our share of the action we might have taken that has brought us to where we are. Own up your responsibility. You can't get anywhere without having done something to be there. So if you both find yourself somewhere, you who think it's a problem now, own your part of the process or the transition or the journey or whatever you contributed to have gotten where you are, that you think we need to talk about this. Own your part of it. Maybe, okay, I was not here often for you, that's why you are not happy and you think I've neglected you. I own my part of it, but that is not the reason. Own your part. Once you own your part, it becomes a turning point for you, so that next time you are doing it again, you become aware that I admitted that I did this, so I won't repeat it again. But if you always say, I haven't done anything, you can't communicate effectively. Own your part, that I also contributed for where we are, and this is what I think I did. I'm also going to look at my side so that we can all come together and work it out.
Okay, let me make it a bit practical. So a young girl meets a young man. For example, she knows that every Thursday and Friday he plays football. Prior to the marriage, this is something she knew she could handle. They get married and now it's every day of the week. And she's like, okay, what's happening here? This is too much. I need you. I need your presence. I want you. And then the gentleman thinks, okay, you know what? But I'm also still I'm realizing that my waistline is getting larger and larger. I think
So
I
it has
should
to be every
exercise
day.
more. It should be every day. And the lady says, no, but this is not what I negotiated for. How do you handle this particular situation?
Yes. Well, first, I'd like to say we'll just apply everything that Ariel has said, because it's so true, But to bring it closer to the scenario you just painted, talking is very, very important. Active listening, active speaking, very, very important. You need to focus on what the issues are. And when you're coming to that table, first the lady needs to understand this guy loves me. This guy loves me. And so there is something wrong. I might not be able to lay my finger on it. So I'm not going to start by accusing. I'm not going to start by saying this is not what I bargained for. You deceived me and things like that. Don't start from there. Start by trying to find out why this routine has increased. Why are you doing it every day now? I thought it was twice a week. Okay, ask and then wait for the response so that you can bring in the next question. But once you start by accusing, you shut the guy, um, how do you say, shut him out. And also he begins to get confrontational as well, of course, depending on the kind of person he is. And then for the guy, when the question comes, he should also listen and hear that the lady is not saying, um, I, you are now a married man. Why are you doing this and doing this and doing this? So that he doesn't respond by saying, "Are you now trying to monitor me? Are you now trying to run my life? I do what I want," and things like that. Let them talk about it. This is the situation, and you see, it now means that if you play football 5 days a week, there are certain things that we do together that we will not be able to do any longer. So can we talk about it?
Definitely.
And instead of doing it like this, can we do it this other way and things like that? And in the process, while they are talking, they might even come to a point where we can make our spouses love what we love. It's a process. We cannot expect these things to happen immediately. Is it possible that you make her love football so much that even when you're going, she also, puts on her own kit and say, I'll just go there and cheer you on. I want to see how you do this thing. I want to be part of what you're doing. Or the guy can even say, come with me. Let's go play. At least you have the opportunity to meet more of my friends and the people that I play football with and the kind of things we discuss and things like that. There are even some of my friends that come there with their wives. Let's go. So you also meet their wives and we build this happy team together, you know? And you see, in the process of the conversation, they get closer, they become better. They also learn how to address issues. Because some of the times that event can give rise to so many other things. So, are you focusing on what the issue is at that material time? Or are you bringing in so many other things? The day his mother, came to the house and said, "Oh, are you the man in this marriage?" Though there are things that you're doing. So that thing stuck in your head. And so now he's going to play football every day. And you're saying it could be because of what the mother said and things like that. They might be connected, but give him the opportunity to speak to the issue. There is a way you bring something to the table and the person sees that you want to plan. There is another way you bring something to the table and the person feels confrontation.
Yeah.
The moment that happens, depending on the kind of people you're dealing with, because there are some people when they see, when you know your spouse so well, like there are some men, there's a way your wife shuts the door. The bank tells you that, man,
There's something
something's wrong.
there's something brewing.
Exactly. And then immediately you want to address it.
Yeah.
There are some people that immediately get involved and say, "Oh, so that I hope everything is okay. The way you shut this door, something is going on." You make it funny, and then you guys can address it.
Yeah.
There are other people that immediately just take a position and say, "We'll die here." So
Right.
it will now depend as well on the people. How do you manage issues? How do you deal with this thing? And so please, we need to focus on the right things.
Right.
And that is why counseling is very, very important before and during, marriage is very, very important. But what happens these days is that we spend so much money and time planning for the wedding day, but we don't plan properly for the marriage life. And that's also very dangerous.
Right, Ugo, sorry. Probably because of the letter we received and the earlier context of our conversation, it appears that a lot of the advice is going
To
towards the
her.
women and in marriages. But I know men, especially when children come in, some of them feel like, okay, now the whole house is now revolving around the kids. I don't have time. My wife is not giving me the time again. She's going to the spa. She's going to work. And when she comes home, it's always the kids. And they've taken over everything, the bed and all that. But it's now time to hear from you, our listener. Call us to share your thoughts with us, 0302 216 541. Or if you choose to message us, you can do so via WhatsApp 055 111 1997. I'll take that again, 055 997. So we have a message on WhatsApp. This is from Gerard in Sapeman. Bernice, I learned from Home Affairs about 12 years ago that in marriage, one's preference should be a testament because we are all from different backgrounds, and it has helped me a lot in my almost 10 years of marriage. We are happy to have messages like this. It tells you that
Yeah,
what we're doing
people
here
are
is
listening.
really going a long way to help you out there. Thank you so much for sharing this message with us, Gerard. You can call us 0302 216 541. Share your thoughts with us. Do you have a personal experience? How did you go about it? How did you sit down with your spouse to decide what revolves around us and what revolves around you? Like Ugo says, his money is his. I know a lot of women will be upset by that, Ugo, because like you're saying, most of the time during counseling, we are taught that it's no longer you, it's us. Everything is us. So it could also be the expectation a lot of people go into their marriages with. So while we wait for your calls to come, let me just appreciate those who make it possible for us to bring you home affairs. Oh, we have a call on the line. Okay, Kwesi is joining the program. Hello, Kwesi. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's hear you.
Good morning. Okay, so on the issue of communication. Hello.
I can hear you, Kwesi.
Okay, so on the issue of communication, I just want to share my experience. So I got married, and then I used to play football on Friday, and then my wife took seat.
Okay.
We did not really have to talk about it. I had to reason and realize that she would need me. I couldn't leave home every Friday night, go play football and something around 11. So I think you don't really need to always talk about it, but you as a person should also reason and know that is this act really necessary to take at this point. I think it also helps.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. We appreciate your call, Kwesi. And as Kwesi was speaking, I could see that Ariel was nodding in agreement to what he was saying.
Yeah, it shows that he's responsible and he can assess and make decisions on his own, and that is very powerful. To have a partner who you don't always have to talk to see things that are on the ground. It's amazing that he knows that, oh, at this stage I shouldn't be leaving my wife to go play football on Fridays. I need to be with her. It's somebody who is having a lot of awareness and can see the situation on the ground and make decision, and that is powerful and awesome.
Something that I'm sure everybody should learn
Yeah,
from.
yeah, you need to learn that.
Well, another caller, Mike. Hello, Mike. Good morning. Let's hear from you.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, I'm Mike. So my question is, how do you handle situations where your wife sometimes gives you cheeky answers? Because it's not if I don't love my wife, but sometimes you're talking to her, she gives you cheeky answers, and gradually the love I have for her is decreasing. How do you handle the situation?
Right. Okay. Thank you for calling us, Mike. Ugo, do you want to answer that question?
I didn't hear what Mike was saying.
Okay. He was saying that how do you handle a wife who is always giving you cheeky responses? He says that he loves his wife, but she's always giving him cheeky responses.
Yes, well, the first thing, sincerely is, have you always known her to be like that? People need to pay attention to the implications of what they walk into, so that we do not use it as basis for the frustrations, that we suffer. If you've known her to be different, what has changed? That could be the basis, from where you start. Have you noticed any changes? Or has she always been like this and you were just hoping that when you guys get married and you love her more and build your world around her, some of these things will change? Does she know how you feel about how she responds to you? And when she responds to you that way, how have you been reacting, to the point that she now sees it as one of your triggers? And so when you hurt her, she'll respond to you like that. There are a number of reasons, but it will require you, dwelling a little more, paying attention to the past and now, to find out why. And when you have the answers, it's something that you cannot address. Maybe we can talk about it afterwards, but it will not be easy to just say be patient and things like that. There could be a reason behind what's going on.
But on the other side, is it a healthy thing to do as a partner to give cheeky answers? There are people who would say, well, I won't talk about it because I expect you to know that what you did hurt me, or I expect you to know that this attitude you put up in public embarrassed me. What is a healthy way to communicate disappointment from your partner or hurt?
Okay, sorry, is that for me or
Yeah,
for
that's for you,
Ariel?
Ugo. That's just a
Okay.
follow up on that question on she being cheeky and it being likely related to a certain attitude that her husband may have put up.
Yes. So the first thing, remember, you're talking about two people in love, two people in a relationship. And if things have been going well before that day or before that event, when you get home or on your way home, if you're alone, depending on the times that you communicate, you find that receptive moment, okay, and you go, is everything okay? The way you reacted showed that something was wrong. Something is definitely off. Was there something I did wrong? And things like that. Of course, like Ariel mentioned earlier, it's also about that temperament. How observant are you? And what mood are you in? What kind of person are you? Okay, but we try as much as possible not to get confrontational at that time. What has happened has happened. Two wrongs do not make a right. Speak with the person and find out why this person behaved like that. Okay, I mean, we're not mad people. Okay, if someone acts outside the ordinary, outside what he or she would ordinarily do, the first thing to do is to feel concern, that empathy. What went wrong? What is going on? Is there something that I did? Is there something that you observed? Did somebody at the party or at that event upset you? What happened?
Right.
Okay. Communicate lovingly and hear the response of the person. That's definitely a reason. And then from there, you can take it up.
I think I have time to pick about two more calls. So if you'd like to share your experience with us, or you have a question like our last caller, you can call into the program. But good food brings good memories. That's why taste matters, and Onga is the taste master. As taste matters, we give every meal that superior taste. A wide range of Onga flavors assures you of a superior taste and irresistible aroma. Why don't you get your Onga powders, the stew 3 mix, which is a combination of ginger, onion, and garlic, our classic, and chicken. Oh, yes, and for the Onga tablet, the shrimp, chicken, beef, and stew, we have a flavor for every meal. This is just what you need for an Ongalicious meal. And by the way, Ongalicious is the new delicious. Onga, mama's helping hand. And having your baby try out different tastes and flavors isn't just about giving them a change of taste. This helps to develop their palate and prepares them better for accepting varieties of adult food as they grow. So go ahead and try any of our 6 Cerelac variants. That's the wheat, maize, rice, biscuity, fruit pieces, and millet. Remember, each bowl of Cerelac contains goodness that helps your child's normal growth and development. Cerelac, it's all good, ma'am. This advert is FDA approved. All right. So this is from a listener via WhatsApp. I read somewhere that in a marriage, there is my way, her way, and our way, meaning certain things must be done individually and others as a couple. That's a very, very interesting one.
that's it.
And we're quickly wrapping up our conversation today talking about really whether a partner or a spouse's life should revolve around you and vice versa. And we have really, really learned a lot. I'll give you time to share your concluding thoughts with us. Let me start with you, Ariel.
Okay, great. So I'm coming back to the letter that brought us this conversation.
Exactly.
And I would say that, I mean, it's good that I'm happy that the guy can tell the wife that this is what I want to do. And the wife should be grateful that I have a man who can tell me I want to get some time alone and go read a book. What if it's a man who will not tell you? How would you feel if he doesn't even tell us I'm going to work and go have his me time, you know? That is healthy for her to actually take the husband for being able to ask for a time alone and not be afraid that you are not going to trust me. My concluding words is for this lady that she needs to find her own interest. What are her own interests? If she has her own interest and your husband says, I'm going to do this, you have something you're going to also say, okay, then I have time to also do something. Then today I'll go to the spa and have a massage, or I'll go to the gym and have an exercise and take care of myself and do something. But it looks like she doesn't have any interest, and so she was pretty upset. He's going to do something he's interested in. And what about me? You know, so she needs to find her interest and she needs to invest in her goals. Does she have any goals for her life? Is her goals all going to evolve around one person? That is going to be out of balance. She needs to have her own friends and family. Make time for friends and family.
I am happy you mentioned that because she was expecting that they have a pool of friends.
You may have a pool of friends, maybe from family or church or something. But as a woman, you need to have maybe 2 or 3 friends that you can hang out with when you're without your husband. If you don't have that, it's going to be, you're going to go out of balance. And what she's asking for, she's going to go out of balance because she's not focusing on how to develop herself, how to do things to build. She needs also to build confidence and learn to be alone. Being alone shouldn't be scary. A lot of people find being alone as something very scary. But when you learn how to practice solitude, it's one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself, to be alone and to like it. Yeah. So my husband is going away. I can also be alone home and like being home. And especially I have interest and I have something I can do. And then lastly, she needs to build a lot of self-awareness. And she may need to talk to a therapist or a coach. She may need to talk to someone because at the rate she's thinking now, my view, my expectation, she needs a change of belief. And first, she needs to find where her fears are that makes her stand by these expectations.
Right. Okay. So, Ugo, before I let you share your final thoughts with us, let me take this last message from WhatsApp. And it's from Joe, who is listening to us from Italy. My little contribution is that I see marriage as a sailing ship. Allowing so much water from outside into the ship can make it sink. And also, we must know how to manage the water we already have on board for our domestic use. He says the water here represents words. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, Joe. So, Ugo, you have the last word. I mean, how do we manage this very tricky part of our relationship with our spouses?
So I'm gonna try not to repeat the things that Ariel has said.
Right.
So I'll just add, from the letter, she didn't say she didn't have that her husband is not a good husband and things like that. She's just asking for everything, and the underlying word here is everything to revolve around her. And I think, like Ariel has said, it's very risky. Be a person, see yourself as a person, discover yourself, and walk in that path. That way you can also benefit from your differences. Okay, you don't always have to walk on common grounds. Benefit from your differences. So you see that you'll even make the relationship more exciting. You go do your me time, come back, you have new experiences that you two can share and plan on. Okay, but if it's always trying to build around the person, you're going to frustrate yourself and you're going to frustrate the relationship.
Thank you so much, Ugo. Ugo Chukwunyeke is a relationship coach and Ariel is a wellness coach. Thank you so much for joining us today. And
Thank you.
we've been talking about relationships and whether my spouse's life must revolve around me and vice versa. We've learned a lot. We've learned that this whole marriage thing is a process, right? And we've also learned that it's good to understand who you are engaging with, what are their temperaments. Maybe this is a point where we must encourage ourselves to learn more in that regard. I would like to say a very big thank you to my producer, Daniela, super producer, and Philip, who's helping us with social media. And obviously, thank you for listening and allowing us into your homes this Saturday morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. This has been Home Affairs on your superstation, Joy 99.7 FM. Do stay with us. The Weekend City Show is up next. Take care.